Hi, my friends. Happy Wednesday. Hi to my conscious entrepreneurs and creatives. Hi to my rebels. We're talking about rule breaking today. And this is something that I'm actually doing like a little bit of a behind the scenes, a little bit of a behind the scenes today. That I frankly, like, as I was preparing for today, I don't think I do this enough. I think there's a lot of lessons in my business, in my process that, that I want to share with you today, especially, but I may be doing this more often. And I am sharing this sort of what's going on in my business as a tool for you, or I said in the promotional materials I always call it promotional materials in the post about today's live. Like I hope that me giving myself a permission slip also helps you give yourself a permission slip for whatever flipping rule you need to break in your business so that you can move to the next level. This is something that I've been doing a lot of thinking about rule breaking and what it really means. And I mean, rule breaking can be simple as just living life slightly off mainstream. It can be doing what people don't expect. It can be doing breaking a rule. Like today, I'm talking about some of the rules that I'm breaking that I set up for myself. Like I'm breaking my own rules. So it can be breaking the rules of expectations of society or other people or people in the online space or your clients or whatever, but it can also be breaking your own rules. And I think that so oftentimes what I find when I work with my clients, yes, I help people with their strategy. Yes, I help people make more money. Yes, I help people to find more levels of fulfillment and creativity in their work and do whatever needs to be done behind the scenes to sort of bring those two together so that what you're bringing out into the world is the greatest potential of your work that lights you up and serves the world. And all of that, most of the time, what I end up doing with my clients to get them there is we do mindset work together. We challenge our own assumptions. We look at things differently. And when we can look at things differently, we can change things. And I think that if you want to be happy and fulfilled in your work, in your craft, and you want to do that at the greatest level of potential that you have available to you in this moment, you have to grow and evolve over time. Your business has to grow and evolve over time. And sometimes that means, making an investment from a time or a money perspective or an energy perspective in the future. And that's a little bit of what I'm talking about today. I'm pulling back on some obvious things that I always do in my business, only for a month, you guys. But I'm pulling back for the purposes, it's like a little bit of a slowdown so that you can speed up. I'm pulling back on some things so that I can generate and create what's needed for my next chapter. And so I want to share that with you. Okay, if you're live, let me know. I'm just going to quickly check the comments here. Say hi. Let me know what rules you're breaking. I would love to know. And I just got to get into my group here. Okay. So, couple of things that we're doing today, or that I'm doing here in my business. Okay, good. That I'm doing here in my business that I want to share. Number one, the most obvious rule, and this is a rule that, again, I'm putting rules in quotation marks today, you guys. This is a rule that most people follow. This is a rule that I hear a lot of my clients tell me all the time they need to follow, they have to follow. And while I agree at some level, I always like to challenge the assumption of having to do something, like putting yourself in a mindset where you decided you have to do something because you're a victim to it, or because that's the land and the planet and the context that you're playing in. Like, yes, the environment affects our business, and run your business on your own damn terms and find a way to blend the two so that you're neither running as a victim to, for example, a social media algorithm, right? If you're building your whole marketing strategy around social media algorithms, like things outside of your control and things that are the external environment that we live in as our businesses, then if you're building your whole marketing strategy based solely on algorithms, what are you doing? Like, you're changing your marketing every month. That's exhausting. You can do that. That works. And you can also do what makes the most sense for your business strategically from your marketing perspective. And so again, we're breaking rules here, but this first one is related to social media. This first one is a deep, I want to call it a deep wound for a lot of clients. It used to be a deep wound for me. In fact, I spent the first year and a half, maybe 2 years in my business only marketing myself through word of mouth, networking, and speaking. Nothing wrong with that. I still do all of those things too now. But I didn't really hop on the social media train until I had been in business for quite some time. Mainly because I was getting in my own way, mainly because I didn't know how to use it to run my business. I felt weird about it. I didn't want to do Facebook Lives, ironically, even though I really like speaking. It just felt weird to me. And so I had to get used to it. I had to get comfortable with it. I had to play with it and find a way to make it my own. So here's what the first rule that I've broken this month. And it's really, we're going to do it for the next 3 to 4 weeks. So it'll be mid-August to mid-September. So I'm breaking another rule by like making the time frame different. We are pulling, and it's me and my team's efforts, we are pulling way, 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 way back on social media for the next month. I have posted consistently, 5 to 7 times a week, sometimes more, for years. And that is, I'm very proud of that. I committed to that to myself. I know that that has been one of the reasons why I've been successful. Not the only reason. I'm going to be really, really clear about that. It's not the only reason. It's not the only way that I generate clients, but it has been a good client generator for me. And I like social media. I like being able to live in Honduras and market myself to people all around the world. However, and I'm going to talk in a minute about why I made these decisions, but I want to first just start by the bold decisions that I had to give myself permission. Like, be clear, I had to do some mindset work around this. Even though I am quite I'm usually a rebel first, not like a rule follower first, and then I'll rebel when I need to. Pretty much like more than likely going to rebel against something and then go, wait a minute, that's a lot of effort. Maybe I should follow this particular rule. I only tend to follow rules that I agree with. Like I follow traffic rules. I'm a very safe driver. I stop at stop signs because I agree with those rules. I don't agree with, I don't know what rule. There's a lot of rules I don't agree with. But I don't agree that the only way to run your business, keep it afloat, and survive is to post 5 to 7 times or more per week on social media. And so I don't believe that that's the only way. I don't believe that I had to do that. And by the way, I'm not actually changing my marketing strategy. I'm just taking a month, not even off, a month of like light social media. So we're just pulling way back. You won't see me posting as much. You'll still see me here on Facebook Live every single Wednesday. I'm still going to be doing my free workshops at the end of every month. I'm just pulling back in terms of the amount of posts that we put out on a regular basis. We're pulling way, 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 way back. And in doing that, just the two go together, right? Because my team supports me with social media, with email. We're pulling back on emails too. My team supports me with all of that, right? I don't have a team that does coaching for me. Coaching is my job. And so with that, my team is taking some time off. And that actually, like, it's been such a beautiful lesson in, oh gosh, like, what are all the reasons, right? Like I said, I had to give myself a permission slip to do this. I had to do some mindset work for myself, because when this idea came to me, I was like, oh, that would be perfect. Can I really do that? Oh gosh, people count on me, to show up on social media regularly. What will my clients think? Will they think that I'm not being a good model of like running a solid business? What will happen to my to the algorithm around my accounts? What about my team? They count on me. What are we going to do about this? Well, when I talk to them, they needed time off too. They have stuff going on in their own businesses. The timing was actually perfect for everyone, myself, my business, and my team, to pull back for a few weeks so that we can focus on other things. And this is in some ways no different than giving yourself permission to take time off, giving yourself permission to take a vacation, giving yourself permission to go on a trip. Like, there is no reason why you should have a business that you're chained to at any level. And so if you're handcuffed to your desk because you think you have to get all these social media posts out, when that doesn't make sense for you and your business for a period of time, then why are you doing it, right? There's all kinds of creative ways you can still use social media while you're focusing on other things. And I'm a big proponent of repurposing. But that just didn't feel right to me right now. And so we've pulled way back on social media. Again, I'll be showing up live every Wednesday, and then every last Wednesday of the month, I'll continue to do my free workshops. But other than that, I'm not making any promises to you or to myself about how much I show up, how many times I'm going to post. My team is off. So any posting I do, I'm going to have to go in and put a graphic together. So secretly, you will now know that any graphics that go out are probably done by me, except for the one about the workshop. And so I'm probably not going to do a whole lot. I have other stuff that I'm focusing on this month, and that's really, really, really the driver and the number one priority in my business. And it's not social media. And we had to create time and space for these other things, which I'll share in a minute. So number one, social media, we're pulling way back. And this one, I just want to also sort of say, like, this one, and really with all of these, but this one's a big one because I've seen a lot of people say, fuck social media. I'm so tired of this. This isn't working for me. I don't like it, right? They've created this concept of like, I have to post every single day. And then they've built up that amount of work for themselves or for their team. And if your heart's not in it, if your heart's not in your marketing, my friends, like it's going to be harder and harder and harder to have your marketing and your copy actually work for you because your heart's not in it. There's an energy to your marketing. And so when your heart's not in it, like I always kind of feel like, what impact do you think you're going to make when your heart's not in it? So I always like to think about that. Like, you're spinning your wheels to do something for a should, to do something for a have to do something for a to do that you put on your list or your team's list, that sometimes does not make sense, right? And I always talk about like summertime, Christmas time. Those are times where lots of people like to take time off, right? Whatever season it is for you and your business and your life. Why are you trying to do everything the same way when you're also taking time off? So these are these moments where it's really important to give yourself permission to pull back, because if you don't, nobody else will. And if you don't, you will be the one who mostly gets sacrificed if you're not taking time off, if you're not taking time for creativity, which is part of what I'm doing. Okay, so number one, we pulled out social media, or we're way drastically shifted. Oh, I wanted to say one more thing about social media. I see a lot of people get frustrated about it, and then they either do one of two extreme actions. One is, well, shit, I better keep doing it. This is the only choice I have if I want to run a business, right? I know people who were successful in business without doing a lot of social media marketing, or sometimes any. And if that's something that you want to talk about for your business, hop on a free call with me. I'm happy to start talking about that with you and happy to coach you through it. But people take one of two actions: extreme action around, well, I'm just going to do it even though I don't want to. I've decided I have to. I've decided it's a should, so I better, post every single day. Or they take the entire other action. F social media. I'm off, I'm done, I'm closing my account, or I'm taking 3 months off, or I'm not going to post at all, or I'm going to do nothing because I'm mad at it, right? I'm mad at Facebook, I'm mad at Instagram, I'm mad at Twitter, and I'm resentful of it. And I can't do this, and I don't know how to, or I don't want to, so I'm just out, right? Neither is wrong, but can you see where the energy is when we talk about it that way versus what we're doing? And this took me a minute to come up with. I'm just making a really clear, intentional decision to pull back on something for a period of time. I'm not mad at social media. I just honestly don't have time for it this month. And I'm deciding that's okay. I'm not shutting down my marketing funnels, but I am putting my time and energy and investing my time and energy into something else so that my business can grow to the next level, not just financially, but creatively. And I'm going to keep talking about that. So when you find yourself wanting to do something, I am giving you permission. If you can't give yourself permission, I'll give you permission. You can take the permission, not that you need my permission, but you know what I mean, borrow it. But I'm not giving you permission, or I'm not trying to suggest that everybody and their brother should just shut down social media and run a protest. This isn't about that. But why I'm talking about this is I think that social media is such a sore subject for so many people because they feel that they have to. And I realized this month when I was needing to reevaluate how I'm spending my time, I realized that conversation I was having, right? That I said a minute ago, like, well, can I really do that? And I find, by the way, for my rebellious friends, like when I start to say to myself, ooh, can I really do that? Like almost like, is that allowed? That's my indicator of like, hold on a minute. This, just because you had to ask yourself that question, maybe that's the reason why you have to say yes to this and you have to do it. Because otherwise it's a should, otherwise it's a have to, otherwise it's a rule I made for myself. Ugh, who wants to do that? Who wants to live their life like that? I don't want to run my business like that. I made a commitment to myself when I started this business, and I've kept my promise that I would not burn out, that I would not overwhelm myself, that I would not do too much. I would not do a bunch of shit that I thought I didn't need to do, right? I did that for 18 years in corporate when I worked for other people. And this is nothing about corporate. I actually had a really good experience in corporate. I just burned out and needed to move on. But I was working for other people, and I did a lot of stuff I didn't want to do or didn't see the value in, because I worked for a bigger company that had requirements, right? Well, I'm working for myself now and it's my decision. So when I ask that question of myself, like, ooh, can I really do that? And I have my clients say that to me all the time, like, oh, do you think I could really do this crazy idea that I want to have? Most often the answer needs to be yes. Let's just figure out a way to get there. And maybe it's a timing thing. So this is about you creating your own rules and being able to break them and tweak them when you need to. And so while social media has served me well and I'm not leaving it, I'm just taking a mini, I'm just going part-time. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing social media light for the next month. I'm just going part-time. And it'll be interesting to see, because I'm opening up all this creative space, if I end up creating a bunch of content and putting it out there anyway. But I'm not holding myself to it. I don't have to-dos on my list for social media. That's what I needed in my business this month. And so that's what I'm gifting myself with. Okay. The other thing I'm doing is I am feeling the need to take some time off, but not like full on vacation, and not even like a 3-day weekend, although I may do that too. I'm doing this fun thing where I'm in full, well, okay, let me back up. Well, I'm doing this fun thing where I'm mostly unscheduled. I have clients, by the way, for those of you who are my clients, I'm still serving my clients. I am continuing with that. You will still see me on Basecamp. You will not see a change. People who have discovery calls with me, by the way, this is me not going anywhere, still running my business, still serving clients, still bringing in new ones, just doing it a little differently for a short period of time. I have networking meetings. I have some speaking engagements. All of those things are still on. But the meetings that are on my calendar and the to-dos on my calendar that don't directly tie to what my top priority is this month, other than my client service and the other things I just said, they're coming off so that I can have time to do other things. And so what I've done is I've created this like unscheduled schedule where I have more space in between client calls. I have more space on the days where I don't have client calls. And I am not really planning ahead how I'm going to spend my time. And I'm letting the day decide. I'm letting my intuition decide. I'm letting what I'm working on decide. And I'm kind of following that. I'm following my creativity. I'm following my intuition. And I'm following my feeling that I need a little more time that feels like I'm off. So I pulled tasks off my list. And again, in doing that, I pulled tasks off my team's list. Because I feel the need for some white space. I feel the need for some creativity. And so one of the other rules I'm breaking is I usually take like a chunk of vacation at a time, or I've gone back and forth, but I take a lot of Fridays off. Or maybe I'll take like Thursday and Friday off. And I'm not even doing that. I'm taking like, noon to 3 off, and then I'll hop on a client call at 4. Like my schedule is very creative. It's very unplanned. It's very in the moment, other than the things that I'm leaving on my calendar. And I really, outside of work, I like to kind of live life unplanned and sporadically, but in work, I'm usually very planful, especially because I have a team and everybody's freelancers. And so, it's very important to me to get things to my team by a certain time. I like to be able to plan that ahead. I like to know when my clients book like a month out. So I always know when my client sessions are going to be. And so in that sense, and I'm always planning ahead for like the next workshop, the next thing I'm going to be promoting. I do think ahead, and I like to run my business that way. It helps me stay in intention, and it helps me stay calm and grounded. And it helps me stay connected to my vision. But I'm not doing it like that right now. And it's been really fun to just go, what are we doing today? What do I feel like doing today? Oh, cool. I've got 2 clients. Great. I'm going to hop on those calls. Then I wonder what else I'll do. So I'm doing that differently too. I'm doing my schedule differently, and I'm breaking that rule, and that feels really, really good. The other thing I'm doing is I'm sharing my mess with you. I've been talking about messiness this month in these lives. If you've missed the last couple of Wednesdays, go check it out in the the top of the Facebook group. There's a featured section. I've always pinned these videos. I always pin these videos there. But I've been talking a lot about like the messiness, leaning into the messiness, how not to stay in there too long, because I think we can get stuck in the messiness. But transition is messy, change is messy, creating something new is messy, creating the next chapter, the next level, the next up level, the next iteration or evolution of your business, whatever you want to call it. That's what's happening with me. It can be messy. It has moments of messiness, right? Like just like when you sit down to write a social media post or a blog post or a book, like it's not like you sit down and you write the first sentence. Most people don't write the first sentence, the second sentence, the next paragraph, and then they end it beautifully and they move on. Like they write it and then they move paragraphs around, they move sentences around, they might just go back and edit it 2 or 3 times before it's done, right? It can, like, business is a creative process if you let it. I am in a creative process and I'm leaning into the messiness of it, and I'm not presenting what I normally do. This is the other rule I'm breaking of myself. I usually wait when I'm in the middle of my own stuff. I usually wait to share that with my audience once I have a little hindsight and clarity. Like, hindsight is clarity, right? To say, okay, this is where I was, this is what I was going through and thinking about. This is where I landed. So let me tell you the whole story. But I'm sharing with you this messiness of, I just made this decision. We're going to see how it goes, instead of telling you, maybe I will come back in and tell you at the end of the month or in 2 months, sort of what that did, what these decisions did for me and my business. But I'm really good. I'm always sharing my stories sort of in hindsight. And I'm finding in my conversations with my clients, in my conversations with other entrepreneurs, I'm on the phone with entrepreneurs all the time. I'm always networking. I have lots of friends and colleagues who are running their own businesses, and we're always talking. And I find that what not enough people are talking about, or what let me not even judge other people. The conversations I want to be having now are the real raw conversations of what's really happening behind the scenes when people are running businesses. Like, it's kind of want to say it's not glamorous, and it's not, but I don't mean to say that like running a business has to be hard, but from a mindset perspective, from a creative perspective, when people don't talk about what they're going through, when they don't talk about the messiness in this example, I think we run the risk of not sharing and collaborating and commiserating, but like sharing, those experiences with each other to support each other through it. But I also think we're missing the boat in not painting a real picture, right? And this is hard to do in social media, on social media, because we're only given like 2,000 characters, right? And so this is not to judge anybody else who's painting pretty pictures of, running a business, a virtual business, an online business, a small business is super easy. You just press 3 buttons and like you make millions of dollars. Like, first off, that's not true, but it's okay for those people who are trying to present that, because let's be honest, what they're trying to present back is like, we can have a different relationship with hard work, which I'm down for. But it's hard to present reality in 2,000 characters, which is why I'm sharing this as a live video as opposed to a written post. I cannot condense it yet. So I'm sharing my mess with you. It doesn't feel, it actually, what's interesting about this mess, and maybe this is why I'm letting myself share it with you to be fully vulnerable, is what feels different for me about this mess, this creative process, what I'm going through, which I'll share with you in a minute. What feels different about this one is it has been such a beautiful process of unraveling and saying no to some things. And by the way, most of what's pivoting for me and what's shifting and up-leveling for me is stuff that is more internal to my business and my mindset and my daily life, and way less affecting really anybody on the outside. There's some little tweaks that you might notice if you've been tracking like my pricing and my offers. But like, it's not, I'm still a mindset and business coach. I'm still serving the same people. Like, it's really more, how many clients am I going to take on in this next iteration? What does that look like? And then I'm birthing some other creative projects. So this has been a very empowering and beautiful and creative and intuitive process. And I think in some ways it has been this enjoyable, even though I'm not saying it hasn't been hard. I've had my messy moments 100%. But it's been mostly interesting and enjoyable because I think because I've done this so many times in my life, in my business, that I'm just trusting myself now that when things feel like something has to change or feel like something is a little crunchy, it's just my like little antenna to go, oh, okay, time to make a tweak. It's okay, right? And I love my business. And so even though I'm only making small changes, I've even had to deal with grief. And I don't think people are talking about that. I've had to grieve there's some people I'm not working with anymore. That's totally appropriate. And I have to let them go just like a teacher does at the end of the school year. Like, that's all good. That's why I'm here. I'm not here to like attach people to me or for me to attach to team members or to my coach or to whoever. Right. And so it's been an interesting process I love, love, love what I do. And I love, love, love the people that I work with at all levels. And times are changing, and I've got to roll with the punches, and it's also appropriate to grieve, and it's also appropriate to move forward, and it's also appropriate to take time, which is what I'm doing this month, to integrate the changes and to settle in and to move into that next level creative space. So I'm sharing the messiness because I want to be real with you, because that's part of my next level, is hopefully giving you permission, or I don't even want to say modeling, that's not the right word, but I'm going to keep standing here in this space, and I'm going to keep talking about the real shit, and I'm going to keep talking about what's hard and how we make it too hard. Like, there's both, right? We make it too hard and complicated, and it can be softer, easier, and flowier. And also some things are just hard, and that's okay. And that's life, and that's business, and it's everything. It's beautiful, and it's sad, and it's messy, and it's complicated, and then it can be easy. Like, it's everything, right? And I really want to normalize the everything part of running a business, as opposed to just yep, you can make a lot of money doing work you love and it can be easy. And I don't like the word easy, but like, it can be easeful, and it can be flowy, and it can be joyful and beautiful. And I'm all about creativity and fulfillment, and I want more of that for myself, and I want more of that for my clients. And that's a big, big, big part of my mission. But we have to do it from the perspective of being real. My clients bring me real shit every day, and that's what I'm here for. And I want to make sure that here in this space, we're talking about that. So that's what's different for me. So I'm breaking my rule about messiness, about I like to share behind the scenes, but I usually like to share it with you when I can talk about it in a little bit more tightly articulated way. I'll never be like a succinct speaker. I am a long-winded person, and I'm okay with that. But sharing it at this level when I don't know where it's going is a little bit vulnerable for me, but I also think is really, really important. So thank you for listening. Okay, so also, I just was reading my notes. Like, two more things about messiness. One, business is not neat and tidy, so I don't want to pretend like it's neat and tidy for me either. And I've talked about this a lot, and I think it's important. I realized that if I wait until I have hindsight and full clarity, hindsight clarity on this messy creative process that I'm in, that I'm going to forget to tell you something. And I think so much of the conversations I want to be having, and I'll be talking more and more about that, but so much of the conversations I want to be having are real and like in the moment when you're in the middle of something, not when it's, bow wrapped around it, happily ever after end of the story. I want to talk about the deep depths of transition and of up leveling a business, because it's deep, it's personal, it's meaningful, it's confusing, it's beautiful, it's special, it's dirty, it's messy, right? It's all of the things. And so I think if I were to have waited, one, I would have missed something to share, right? Because you can't remember everything after the fact. But then in some ways it would have been too late, right? So much of entrepreneurship is taking action before you feel ready. Because when you actually feel ready and you have a full launch plan and you know all the details and you've got and you've got everything buttoned up for the next like 6 months, honestly, it's a little bit too late. So I'm always big on not hustling and pushing, but I'm always big on when you know enough to take a step, take the step, right? So I'm walking my talk with that too. That's not a rule break that I'm keeping. So what's happening in my business, again, I'm not going anywhere. I love my coaching. I love my clients. I love what I've created. I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm birthing like 2 new creative projects on top of continuing to scale my coaching business. And I'm redoing my website. So I kind of have 3 creative projects going right now. And that creativity is, you guys, I woke up at 4 this morning and my brain was already going, and I tried to like sleepily, this is one of my hacks, by the way, like sleepily voice memo myself while laying in bed, so I could get my ideas like downloaded, so I could just go back to bed. And then I couldn't, I like got all jazzed and excited, and I finally got up and started journaling and writing and doing, because that's just this creative space that I'm in. It's really fun and beautiful. And as you guys know, like when you're in that space, like you don't know when it's going to come through. The reason that it's coming through is because I've done a shit ton of mindset work this summer, and I have created this white space, the unscheduled space in my calendar for it to continue to come. And it is coming like a flippin' fire hose. And it's really beautiful and it's really fun. And it's like my mind, body, and soul is calling me to, I'm not ready to birth either one of these projects, but I am updating my website. That's an act of change. But I am in a position where I kind of can't bring myself, to be completely honest, to sit down and write a social media post for coaching, because I just have all these other thoughts in my head and I gotta get them out and down and landed and in some clear form or fashion. There's like, like almost a chapter of creativity. It's like they need to, like, that first chapter needs to be put down on paper so I can like calm down and kind of get back to what I've been doing. And I'm finding, by the way, that so many of these elements of my creative process are beautifully and weirdly weaving in with some of my client coaching sessions. Like they will say something and I'm like, oh my God, like that's part of this, or they're going through something and I realize it's part of that, or I write something in my journal, or I download something creatively and then somebody on a client call is talking about the same topic. Like it's really, I'm in a serious state of flow, and it is to a point where I can't, I just can't bring myself. That's the only way I know how to say it. Like I don't have it in me to do the stuff that I do every day. Even though I love it, and even though I'm not going anywhere, because this is just like, it's almost like I made these conscious decisions, right? All these decisions that I've been talking about today, social media and my team and changing my schedule around. And I've got one more for you. Sharing the mess. But it's like, so on the one hand, I made some conscious decisions. On the other hand, you guys, I just follow my intuition, my gut, my creativity, my fulfillment. Like my soul is bringing me all of this. Like it feels like, instead of it's a distraction from me doing my regular daily, weekly, monthly social media content, it's like the other way around. Like I can't do my like regular shit because I got this going on. It is driving my bus right now, and I'm letting it. And this is something that I think those of you who are multi-passionate, those of you who are super creative, or you're aware of the creative nature of your business, I would argue everybody's a creative and everybody has a creative business, whether you're, like an artist or not. But if you're really dialed into that creative space, to your zone of genius, to your flow, whatever, like there are moments in time where I encourage my clients and where I kind of help myself. Like you can only do so many things at once, you guys, right? And I think it's really important to focus. And I'm not suggesting that you don't focus. But I have focused for years on my coaching business, and some other stuff is coming through that's really beautifully linked. It's It's not all that different from my coaching, but it has to, it's like I'm being told that now is the time, right? Instead of, I always have, and I'm big on helping my clients put back burner lists together. I've always got creative ideas that come into my brain and I jot them down so I don't lose them. I've been doing that for years. I have like, I don't know, 12 different new business ideas. None of them have been birthed yet. That's okay. Maybe not all of them will happen. I doubt they will. But I've documented the process. I've got it down, right? So none of this is to say, like, I still believe that there is a time and a place for jumping after every single creative download that you get, because then you're just spending your days doing that and you're never actually doing anything. So you do have to make some decisions, and I've done that, and that felt good to me in that moment. And what feels really good and like perfect to me right now is to just give myself some time to focus on these other things, so that I can get back to writing again. I'm still coaching, I'm still doing everything, like the big stuff that I do, but I'm taking these sort of daily tasks off to create that white space, because again, the information is flooding in anyway. The creativity is running and flowing anyway. So I may as well, I'm just jumping on the bandwagon and saying yes to it. So yeah, I'm birthing 2 creative projects. I don't think either of them will come to be tangible anytime soon. But who knows? Who knows? And I'm not ready to talk about them yet because they're so messy that I can't talk about them. But I've got to get this ball rolling so that whatever's in my brain lands. And then the other piece is, as I said, I'm updating my website. And although I have people who will be helping me with it, you guys, if you're my clients, you know, like I'm really big on like, be very careful about over delegating stuff that you just don't want to deal with. So I have some decisions to make around my website. I have just some decisions to make around how I want to present my updated website. And I have to make some of those decisions. And those are big creative decisions. Those are also part of the downloads that I'm getting. I have to make those decisions before anybody else can help me. I've got to finish my thought process on that. And so that's the other piece that's happening as well. And so with all of that creativity, a lot of it is writing. Me sitting down to write social media just isn't happening. And I just leaned into it. And I encourage you to lean into whatever's happening with you. There's so much change on the planet right now. There's so many people pivoting their businesses, so many people doing big things. And if you're feeling called to do a big thing, yes, check yourself on, is this just a distraction because I want to stay in creativity mode and I don't really want to focus on my business because, you know, for whatever reason, like make sure that you're making an intentional decision. But when you feel the call, like for me, it's almost like my whole body. And I talk to my clients a lot of times, like, where are you feeling this in your body? What does it feel like in your body? I feel like my body has made these decisions for me. I'm just like, oh yeah, I need to like execute that decision by speaking to my team and taking something off my list and moving some things around my schedule, right? It's a thing that's sort of happening with or without me, so I may as well go along with it. And again, at the same time, I'm making the same decision. But I just want to be really, really clear too, that when you feel the call to do something different, and this can be, you guys, I'm like, these are bold moves. These are rule breaking moments. And like, I can pretend like I'm being more of a rebel than I want to be, but you're only as much of a rebel as you feel like, right? Like if I were a deep rule follower, this would be a massively rebellious thing for me to do. And I did have to say, hold on a minute. Can I still be safe, right? Can I still make money? Can I still keep bringing in new clients if I, go light on social media? Like I had to I had to unwind that story in my head from a mindset perspective around what makes me safe, what makes my business okay, how I'm going to do things, right? Because the truth is, and this is one of the things, as I said in the beginning, like one of the commitments I made to myself when I started this business, the truth is, if I have a business where I cannot take time off, or I cannot go light on something for a short period of time, which is all I'm doing, or I cannot unravel and do things differently and move the ship as needed, tweak and refine. If I can't do that, if I feel chained to my desk or chained to my schedule or chained to my 7,000 clients, then I don't want to do it. I made that decision for myself. And I think most of you have either intentionally made that decision for yourself or want to give yourself permission to make that decision. And that's not to say that like, I only want to do it if it's easy, and I only want to do it if everything feels perfect. It's good luck. But for me to add to my plate these things and not to take something off my plate is doing me as a soul a disservice. But truthfully, it would be doing my clients and my future clients and my audience a disservice. Because if I'm not honoring myself and taking care of myself and taking care of my business and where it's going, how can I help anybody else do that? And how can I sit here and support you in any way, shape, or form in your business if I'm not conscious and aware of my own? And this is not about me being a business coach and needing to share this. This is the same for you, no matter who you serve and what you do. If you're not taking care of you, your team, your family, your friends, your business, your life, if you're not taking care of those things, then you really and truly are not able to step into your greatest potential and serve your clients at your greatest potential because you got other stuff going on. And so that's what this is about. For me, that's really at the end of the day, I'm very aware that this is also the stuff that I help my clients through. And it's been really beautiful to start birthing some of these while I keep recognizing that one of the things that came to me over the last 2 years is I keep ending up working with clients who have 2 businesses, want to move from business 1 to business 2, want to figure out a way to run 2 or 3, want to start a new business, want to write the book, want to update create the podcast, and this like second business energy or a big pivot. And I did that a few years ago when I moved from hypnotherapy to business and mindset coaching. And here I am again. It's a much more subtle externally to you guys shift, but isn't it interesting that like this evolution is what I'm deeply committed to serving my clients through. And then now I'm going through the same. And that's also why I have to share with you the mess, right? It's also why I have to share with you what's happening and why I'm breaking rules. And they're rules in quotation marks, right? Because the true message of today is, you guys, you're running your own business. You make the rules. So I made some rules and then I broke some. And then I'm going to go back to following my own rules again in some of them, at least in a few months, or in a month, in a few weeks to a month. And even that, like, I'm not 100% committing to a time frame for myself. Because I don't know when this creative download process is going to be done. And again, part of not planning ahead too far is pulling back from all of that and just saying, I'm going to let the creativity flow through. I'm going to keep serving my clients. I'm going to keep opening myself up to other clients. And I know that I'm safe to do this. And that's the other thing. Like, when you break a rule because you need to, which is really just a smart, intentional business decision, sometimes we feel that we're not okay, or a business won't be okay, or our clients won't be okay, right? Did you see how many times I'm like, don't worry, I'm still serving my clients. Don't worry, I'm still taking discovery calls, right? We want to like worry, or we we worry that things aren't going to be okay, or that we won't be safe, or our business is going to burn down to the ground. You guys, if my business is going to burn down to the ground because I take 3 to 4 weeks of barely posting on social media, then I don't want to run this business. Like, then I don't have a solid business model, right? And so break the rules, honor yourself. That's really what this is about. Okay, I have 2 more things for you. The other rule, I've broken one other rule, and this is like a rule that I have had for myself in the beginning. I don't know how long I'm going to break this rule, but I've broken this rule. I've gotten this request from clients since I was a hypnotherapist. I got the same exact request last week. I get this request all the time, and it is, do you offer a single session? And while I have done little free sessions here and there as a promotional marketing tool, I used to do a single session, like intensive. I really like, so I've found ways to throw that in, but it's never been a primary part of my offer. I don't know that it ever will, because I really love to develop longer term relationships with my clients. And I personally believe that the value and the potency and the power of one-on-one coaching takes a minute. Like, it's really hard. There are very few people, I think, who can feel real. I just don't feel as good and excited about the idea of not serving a client at a deep level. And I'm breaking my rule, you guys, because one of the things that I am playing around with, and I've talked about this a lot, because I scaled my business to such a level over the last year or 2, I am able to work the same number of hours per week. And because I have a magical team, I am able to work the same number of hours per week, but serve more clients and do less behind the scenes, which means I can make more money, which means I can create a greater impact, which means I am more deeply fulfilled. Because I've set that up, I am in a space where I am taking on new clients, but I'm only taking on 1 or 2 at a time, because I don't know what it's going to feel like to serve that many clients at once, because I've never been in this position before. Even though I've been in this position now for several months, sort of playing with this schedule, I'm still playing with the schedule as I bring on new clients, and continuing to play with what feels like the best sweet spot for me in terms of number of hours serving clients versus number of hours doing other work. And now that I have these other creative projects, those are very, very, like, once this month is over, they will go down to being smaller pieces, but I don't know how much energy it's going to take me to move those things. It's not going to take a lot of time, but how much energy is it going to take, right? And so these are the things that I work with my clients on. These are the things that we talked about when we looked at what's it called? Creating spaciousness in your schedule, the June, I think it was June workshop, where time and energy are 2 very important factors when you're thinking about how you manage your time. And if you're like, my sweet spot, for example, if I have 5 client sessions in one day, that's too many for me. I can do it periodically as needed, but that's too many for me. My sweet spot is 3. When I meet with 3 clients, and I know that sounds small, but I have a lot of clients who meet with me 90 minutes. That's just what works for me. That's how I stay lit up. That's how I stay in my zone of genius. That's how I give my clients the best service that I can. Other people are able to do 8 sessions a day. Great, good for you. That doesn't feel good to me. So for me to balance out my client sessions with my other work, I don't know, right? Like, when you're doing something new, when you change your schedule, you don't know, you have to live it, you have to experience it. And so one of the things that I've decided to do is to break my rule for single sessions. I've had a lot of people requesting them. I also have set an intention that I want to serve, like, that's part of why I'm scaling, right? Not just so that I can make more money, not just so that I can feel more fulfilled, but because part of my business model and my drive and my fulfillment is to create a bigger impact on the world. And if I'm only serving a certain number of clients and they continue to renew with me over and over and over again, that doesn't create space for me to create a bigger impact. And so this is one way I can create a bigger impact, and I can simultaneously experiment with my new schedule, which means I can take on more clients at a time, and it would only be for a short period of time instead of my regular 3 to 5 to 6 month programs, which I'm changing. And it enables me to play around with my schedule more quickly and easily while still serving you guys, while still honoring you guys. For those of you who keep asking me for single sessions, I'm sorry, I've been so rigid. And I still feel that single sessions are not my bread and butter. They never will be. Coaching is magical, but it's not magic, and it takes a minute. And I know from doing my free sessions and from doing my intensives that people have walked away with real valuable content, with real valuable mindset shifts and action plans that really support their business. And there's no reason for me not to do that while I have extra space and while I'm playing around with my schedule. So it all kind of came in to me sort of perfectly. So my caveat around the single sessions is that we will just have to pick one topic. And I find that's really hard for a lot of people, right? Well, they have this money mindset problem, but also want to scale my business, but also I'm going through transition. Like, that's cool and awesome, and give me that. And we're going to have a scope that is manageable for an hour and a half together. So if you're interested in a single session, I don't even have it on my website yet. It's not even in my scheduling system. I will be putting that together hopefully this week. If you're interested in a single session, I'm going to open up. I don't even know how many I'm going to open up. I'll probably just open it up, and then when it feels full, I'll close it. So I'm not making any promises. So get in sooner rather than later. Just shoot me a quick DM, and I will. Actually, you don't even need to shoot me a DM. Just hop on a discovery call with me. I will put the link here in the comments. That is still the way to do it, because I'm not going to take your money and schedule a session with you if I don't think I can help you, if I don't think it's the right fit for my zone of genius and for what's going on in your business. I'm not going to take your money. So it still requires the discovery call. I still want to talk to you and make sure that I can serve you in that container. But if you would like to work with me for a single session, take me up on my rule breaking self. Like I said, I'm laughing at myself. I haven't even told my coach yet that I'm doing this, and she's going to laugh at me too, because I mean, in a good way, because this is something I've been so rigid around. And it's just never felt good. And frankly, I also used to try to smush so much into one session. Like, I'm going to make up for the fact that you're not working with me long term and somehow give you as much value as I can in 90 minutes. And while I will give you as much value as I can in 90 minutes, I am going to hold myself to a realistic standard expectation. And also, I know now, after coaching people for almost 5 years, you guys, I'm about to celebrate my 5-year anniversary. After coaching people for 5 years, I have found that sweet spot of like, there's only so much, and I've experienced this in coaching too, there's only so much you can take in at one time. And there's only so much you need to take in at one time. And there's only so much you need to do at one time. So take me up on this. If you want to hop into my space for a single session, I think it's going to be $800. It'll be a single 90-minute session. We're going to have a quick call beforehand just to manage the scope. And then you'll have a whole week of email back and forth with me, because that's what always happens, right? You have a session and then you're like, wait, now I have a question, or, ooh, I want to play with this, or I give you homework and you want some feedback on it. That's what I do with my clients. By the way, we message back and forth. We share documents. I review things. We workshop stuff. We work out the details of the like tangible items, or even you can even do mindset stuff over Messenger. And so we'll message back and forth throughout that next week to make sure that everything that we talked about in the session is clear. You've got it solid. You have your plan, and you're off and running to the races. So let me know if you have any questions. I will put that out as soon as it's available, as soon as I can get my schedule link set up and all of that. Let me know how you're breaking rules. Let me know what's going on with you in your business. If you're making a transition, hop on a quick call with me. All my discovery calls are free. You can even also just hop on a networking call. If you click my my contact section, there's a networking call. If you just want to powwow and talk about how we can refer business and how share what's going on with you in your business, I love to do that too. So whatever you're up for, I'm up for. I'm in a super creative space, and I am. I've been a little bit on fire lately with the people I'm on calls with, so take me up on it now. Anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for letting me share my messy, up-level creative planet. I'm really excited to be in this space because I, maybe it's the 5-year itch, but I have been feeling this something slightly new coming in, and it's really no different in most ways. It's just the next iteration, the next up leveling for me of the way that I'm serving my clients, the way that I'm serving you here in the group, and the way that I'm serving anybody else that comes into my space. And again, I'm taking this time for myself, to serve myself first so that I can serve you better. And that's how we make the world a better place. If that's what you're looking to do with your business, that's what I do. That's what I do for myself. That's what I do for my clients. That's what I stand for. And I'm going to keep standing for it, because I don't think that you need to run by somebody else's rules or even your own if they no longer serve you or serve your business. And the more we can start to recognize, oh, it's time for a tweak, it's time for a refinement, it's time for a little something. Not to say that you have to change everything all the time. I do think there's a time and a place. But when we can stay on top of that, life is so much more fun. Business is so much more fun. You're going to change the world in a bigger way. And that's what I'm here for. All right. Have a great day. I will see you next Wednesday, same time, and talk soon. Much love.